Good evening. And at this time, I'd like to call the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeals Board meeting for May 13th open. And this is the call to order. May I have the roll call, please?
All right. Jason Allen.
Present.
Christopher Caldwell.
Present.
Wally Farrar.
Present.
And Ms. Hemphill is excused due to an appeal hearing and conflict of interest. Ashley Huber.
Present.
Barbara Miller.
Here.
Regina Miller.
Present.
Susan Stapleton.
Here.
Teresa Thrash.
Here.
And Larry Tolbert.
Present.
Thank you. That closes the regular meeting agenda, and at this point, I'd like to open the appeal hearing for PCR 2024-0018 and 2024-0025. The Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board will now hear both appeals related to those PCR complaints. To ensure continuity, each complaint will be addressed independently. At first, we will hear for about 2024-0018. The appellate will present first, and the investigator will present second. We will then move on to the second PCR complaint, 0025, and the appellant will present first for that complaint, and the investigator will present second. Do all members of the board have either digital or printed copies of the appeal packet in front of you?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any member of the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board who is unable to render an unbiased opinion on these appeals due to a relational, financial, or any other conflict of interest?
No.
No.
Thank you. Please be reminded that Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board policies and procedures of operation indicate that sustained allegations are not part of the appeal hearing, and sustained allegation details will not be shared during the appeal hearing. Board member questions related to those sustained allegations shall be reserved for any closed deliberations. We will hear from the appellant on each complaint independently and why they disagree with the chief's determination of the complaint. At the conclusion of the appellant's presentation, board members will have the opportunity to ask the appellant for clarification or additional detail. After hearing from the appellant on each complaint, we will hear from the investigator to describe the investigation that was undertaken to form the chief's findings. At the conclusion of the investigator's presentation, board members will also have an opportunity to ask the investigator for clarification or additional detail. The appellant has requested that the hearing is open to the public, and while the hearing is open to the public, we request that there be no outbursts of any kind. While there may not be an opportunity for public comments during this hearing, all regular Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board meetings are open to the public and offer an opportunity for public comment on any topic. After hearing from the appellant and the investigator on both of the complaints, the board will then adjourn and go into a closed deliberation, and the public and appellant will be excused. At the conclusion of our deliberation and within 14 business days of the close of the hearing, the board will prepare a written report to be submitted to the city manager with a recommendation to sustain or amend the chief's findings. The city manager shall have final authority to sustain or amend the chief's findings and will notify the appellant of the determination within 20 business days following the appeal hearing. At this point, may we have the summary of the appeal of the first appeal?
Madam Chair and Board, on May the 5th, 2024, Ronald Gillum filed a PCR complaint with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. The complainant alleged that KDPS PSO Joel West, 1, assaulted Mr. Gillum, and 2, acted unprofessionally while clearing a mobile nuisance party from a parking lot in the 1300 block of Portage Street. The complainant was assigned to Inspector Chuck Mason from the Office of Professional Standards for investigation. The investigation was closed on October the 22nd, 2024. The Chief's office reviewed the report and sustained the second allegation against the officer. However, the first allegation was determined to be unfounded. The complainant was notified of the Chief's findings and has chosen to appeal the finding of the first allegation to the city manager. The city manager has referred this appeal to the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeals Board and requests a disposition recommendation. This appeal is before you this evening.
Thank you. And Mr. Gillum, may you come to the podium, please?
Hello? Okay, here we go. Good evening, Mr. Gillum. Couple questions for you. When you walked up and took the phone out and asked for the sergeant, was that the first time you asked for the sergeant, or had you asked for the sergeant before then?
No, I asked for the sergeant before I pulled my phone out. I asked for the sergeant before I pulled my phone out, because I seen that he was getting agitated, so I pulled my phone out. It was probably 1 something in the morning, you know, like, so, yeah, I think I recall that I asked for the sergeant first, because he was like, when my sergeant told me, you know, to do it, I said, you know, let me speak to your sergeant. And, you know, he told me, no, you got attitude, so I pulled out the phone.
Okay, and during that time, your interaction, do you recall making any threatening conversation with the officer?
No.
Okay. One last question. At the time when you asked for the sergeant one last time, had the crowd dispersed?
Well, the crowd was at pretty much a bear when I got down there. You know, and the only reason I know that it was coming from there because I got 360 and my son location was down there. So I asked him what was going on. He said the officer was clearing people out and he was going in the store and coming home. I said, okay. So I laid back down, but then he got back on the horn again. So I said, let me go down and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Gillum, were you tried to be polite with the officer and stuff? Because on page 5, it says you acknowledge you may have gone over the top. And I see a couple of really obscene words throughout here that you said to him.
After he dismissed what I was trying to talk to him about, I absolutely did.
It looks like it started before that, but I just don't think that gets anybody anywhere, and it ratchets everything up. I can't even imagine trying to control a crowd of 300 by myself. And I'm very disappointed with the police department for that, but I just think that's terribly wrong on all circumstances to start ragging on him when he's in that situation.
I'm going to disagree because I got a right to my rest as well.
Mr. Gill, again, one follow-up question. Did you make any threatening remarks to the officer?
I ain't make no threats.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one more. The allegations suggest that that there was contact between you and the officer, and that perhaps it was to create a reasonable amount of space so that the officer can get into his vehicle. In your own opinion, was there enough space for the officer to get into his vehicle?
I wasn't even by his vehicle.
Thank you.
I was his vehicle right there. I'm standing back here. He came back to me. I was standing right here with my phone. He came back from his car to me and smacked my hand down. So, you know, like I gotta totally disagree. When people put their hands on me, he shouldn't be out there with 300 people by himself anyway. Let's be clear about that. That's gotta be against policy to just jump out by yourself. So, you know, I gotta disagree with that. And I gotta disagree with his whole tactic of blowing the bullhorn for 20 minutes waking up citizens. So I'm gonna push back on that. I shouldn't have an attitude when I woke up at 1 something in the morning and I get pushed back by police. When I started off the conversation right and say, hey man, well, you know, well, why you gotta blow the bullhorn? My sergeant told me to do it. He pushed back on me. So if you get if you bring attitude with me, I'm gonna bring it with you, and I have every right to. You know, like I'm paying these people salary, man. I don't expect to be woke up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Control the crowd. It should have been more than one police officer. He was the only officer. Come on now, the only officer? He couldn't control them no way. If the truth be told, so yeah. You know, I used foul language, I did all that. But this officer is the one who gotta be professional, not me. You know, so that's why I stand with that. So.
Mr. Gill, what was the reason why you wanted the sergeant?
Because he told me the sergeant was the one that told him to lay on the bullhorn like that. So I wanted to ask him what was the purpose of that. Like I said, if you come and you make more noise than the people that you claim are making noise that's waking up, I stayed 6 or 7 houses from Howard's. 6 or 7 houses from the party store. The bullhorn was like it was outside my house. So yeah, you know, I'm not happy about being woke up at that time, and I'm pretty sure nobody up there would be. You know, unfortunately, I don't control where I live at the moment. So I got to put up with that. But I shouldn't have to put up with attitude when I woke up and I asked a serious question like, come on, that's the only way you can do it? So yeah, you know, I cursed, I did all that. But after the fact, you know, like I went to him. You know, this dude had an attitude with everybody else. You don't take it out on me. I did nothing to him. He came and pushed back on me because I asked a question. I don't care that he's mad at all these people out there. I'm mad I woke up. We're both mad. We're both upset. But that don't give him the right to put his hands on me. I don't care what language I use to him. I don't give him the right to put his hands on me. I didn't put my hands on him, even after the fact he put his hands on me.
So, again, to be clear, putting his hands on you was knocking the phone out of your hand, is that correct?
He did knock the phone, let's be clear. I'm not saying he knocked the phone out of my hand. I had the phone like that, he knocked my hand down just like that, my hand. I had a grip on my phone, so my phone wasn't gonna fall. But I didn't expect him to hit my arm down. But the whole point is, they said it was it wasn't an unfriendly touch. Like,
like, what is that? I can't touch a police officer friendly. It just doesn't happen. Like, the aggressiveness and his tone, like, I didn't put my hands on him. So regardless of my language, he put his hands on me for a phone because I was recording. He walked up on me. I didn't walk up on him.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Other questions? At this time, we'll hear from the investigator.
Yes. Starting my presentation from the beginning or just the video? From once you came up to the podium, live stream sounds on. Okay. And they can hear you now. So. Oh, that's good.
Did you hear me, what I said? Would you mind saying it for the good of the public so they can hear it? And that he's going to repeat.
Due to some technical difficulties in which we found that the live stream did not carry the sound, we will repeat Inspector Mason's presentation on the findings from the standpoint of the Public Safety Office.
Chair, did the live stream go off when Inspector Mason come up, or was it off during the entire time?
My understanding, it was during Inspector Mason's presentation.
Yes, and in the beginning, there was a portion that wasn't heard with the appellant, but that was remedied right away. But I'm making sure, so I will let you know if that's not the case.
Because we do want to make sure that the appellant has had the same consideration. Thank you, Mr. Tolbert.
Am I good to start, or?
I think so, because we can always circle back and ask the appellant to see that that's not the case while I'm figuring it out. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Okay, good evening again, everyone. My name is Chuck Mason. I'm the inspector with the Office of Professional Standards for Kalamazoo Public Safety. To give background on this complaint, or on the incident that caused the complaint, in the early morning hours of May 5th, 2024, PSO West responded to the 1300 block of Portage Street on a report of a large crowd in the parking lot. Upon arrival, the officer used his siren and horn for an extended period as a way to clear the crowd from the lot. A few minutes after his arrival, Ronald Gillum walked up to the cruiser to complain about the use of the siren and the horn. He explained that he was upset that the police were causing more noise than the crowd itself. The officer engaged in an argument with Mr. Gillum, and during the argument, Mr. Gillum put his phone up to record their interaction. PSOS subsequently pushed Mr. Gillum's phone away from his face. A short time later, Mr. Gillum filed a complaint with Sergeant Reidenbach about PSO West's behavior. In his complaint to Sergeant Reidenbach, which was subsequently forwarded to the Office of Professional Standards, Mr. Gillum made 2 allegations against the involved officer. One of these allegations was sustained. Mr. Gillum has appealed the other allegation, which was determined to be unfounded. The first allegation, and the one subject to today's appeal, is that the officer assaulted Mr. Gillum by pushing his phone and hand away. The Office of Professional Standards investigated Mr. Gillum's complaint by interviewing him via phone, reviewing body-worn camera video, reviewing the initial Operations Division investigation, and reviewing applicable laws, policy, and procedure. I first want to show the body-worn camera clip of the interaction between PSO West and Mr. Gillum that is the subject of this appeal.
You, someone called you supervisor.
Good for you.
You, someone called you supervisor.
Good for you.
Right, but you stay talking about I'm going to jail.
Call dispatch.
Get your supervisor.
Because
with
you're
your
in my face
Get the
making
fuck out my
threats,
face,
so
man.
don't.
No, you in my face making threats. Get
Leave.
your pink ass out my face.
Leave.
Fuck wrong with you? You woke
Leave.
me up.
Leave.
You woke me up.
Leave.
You woke me up. I'm in public. Fuck you. You shouldn't have woke me up.
Yep. This is how I had to
You
clear
shouldn't
the
have
lot.
woke me up.
That's,
But
this
you
is
won't-
my instructions.
No,
by
I
my
don't care, man.
sergeant.
Then I want your sergeant
Yep.
here. That fucking loud ass horn and wake me up, dude.
Yeah, I
Come
can.
make
I
threats to
did.
me? Yeah, I know. Let me see who you is.
Call
Make sure you
911.
get-
Ask
No,
for
call
a
911.
supervisor.
We gonna get you. What's your name back on?
Already told you.
Yeah,
Already
we
told you. Already told you.
So
get your
Hey,
get your
oh, you
phone out of my
touched me?
face and get out of my
let me
face.
get you. No, we definitely.
That's an assault.
You're not going to get in my face.
I wasn't in your face.
Yes,
I'm
you
back
were.
Here, you walked up on me and you touched me. I want the sergeant here
Leave.
for an incident report right now.
Go
I
ahead.
want the sergeant here for an
Go
incident
ahead.
report right now.
I already told you how
I
to
want the
contact
sergeant here
him.
for an incident report right now. Shouldn't have put your hands on me, pussy.
You're not going to get in my
Shouldn't have-
face.
You can steady
You're
getting
not
in my
getting
face.
And I
You
told
steady
you to
walking
leave.
in my face,
I told
pussy.
So Mr. Gillum alleges that the officer's action of pushing his hand away was criminal, and the Office of Professional Standards found that it was not. The officer did act unprofessionally during his interaction with Mr. Gillum for several reasons, and his behavior forced this interaction. It did not have to occur. The officer could have and should have entered his cruiser and left the scene, but that did not happen, and the two ended up standing in front of each other, arguing. Basic contact between one person and the other does not constitute an assault. Committing a criminal act, such as an assault, requires a prohibited action coupled with criminal intent. Neither existed in this situation. PSO West tells Mr. Gillum, "Get your phone out of my face. You're not going to get in my face," coupled with pushing his hand away to create space with him. His cruiser was, in fact, behind him, as you can see in the video. The act was not forceful or violent and was not done with the intent of harming or terrorizing Mr. Gillum, which is part of the intent required by law. For an act to qualify as an assault, the Michigan Criminal Law and Procedure Manual requires the following element: that the defendant committed a battery on the victim, which was a forceful, violent, or offensive touching of that person. People v. Davis, which was a 2008 court case, explains the importance of intent in an assault case. Quote, "A victim's subjective experience of the emotion of fear is not an element of an assault. It's not as important as the defendant's intent to scare or intimidate the victim and whether an ordinary person facing the same conduct would reasonably perceive a legitimate threat or harmful contact." With this analysis, Mr. Gillum's allegation was determined to be unfounded by the Office of Professional Standards. So that's going to conclude my case, a professional standards case for this appeal, and I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Questions from the board for Inspector Mason?
Go ahead. You have a question?
On page 3 of your investigation, there's like a triple star under background, and then I couldn't find any reference to what that triple star went to. Is it somewhere else in the document?
Let me double check. I'm going to step away from the podium just to grab it
Sorry.
out of my
Yep.
bag.
Page 3. I couldn't figure out. Oh, maybe it's just background. Oh, maybe you just started at the beginning and the end as background. Sorry, I just saw the last 3 stars and thought it was like a footnote or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking, so that page 3 would be the Operations Division investigation that was forwarded to my office from Sergeant Reidenbach. So he would have been the
Okay.
supervisor that day.
Okay.
So I think that star is just, it's a stylistic way of noting that as kind of an aside. Vice Chair?
Good evening. Couple questions, I guess clarification. In the video, from the body cam of the officer, it looked like Mr. Gillum maintained his position. The officer was the one that walked up on him. Is that how you see the interaction?
I see the initial interaction as the officer closes that distance and then Mr. Gillum engages the other direction. But the officer was certainly engaged, or I guess closed more of it.
Okay. Do you, at any time with the interview or investigation of the officer, did the officer say that he felt threatened by Mr. Gillum?
I can examine Officer Reidenbach's report for that.
Okay.
I mean, you have it in front of you? I don't know.
No,
Okay.
that's why I'm asking.
Okay. Nothing additional that's not in there.
Okay, and then I guess, just for better, I guess, interpretation, clarification on the law, in the report, you add the MCL code, which says assault and battery is unjustified, forceful, violent, offensive touching of a person, which must be intentional and against the victim's will. And then, according to Michigan law, which I looked up, is basically that assault is defined as an attempt to threat to cause physical harm, while battery is the actual touching of another person without consent. With that being the case, from my vantage point of the video, and I also looked up in Michigan, it is lawful for a citizen to record an interaction with an officer as long as the citizen has a right to be in that area, which is public, which nowhere in the report says that he wasn't on public grounds. So in looking at this, the officer touched Mr. Gillum without his consent. And because of the fact that he closed the distance as well, and there's nowhere stated that he felt fearful for it to be a defensive action, it would appear that it was an offensive action, which would then tie into a battery.
Okay. Their intent is a significant part of a criminal act. It just is. I know what the law, the text of the law says itself, but in order to have a criminal act, you have to have a criminal action, criminal behavior, and then a criminal mindset, so that unjust mindset. Because you can't just, if you just simply commit an act without any mindset, you can't say that that's criminal. Even though the text of the law does say it, in a legal analysis, they need to know the mindset behind it. And I think for the scene itself, and as far as our analysis goes, you have to take in the context that we've got an officer who's dealing with a large crowd, who's already frustrated. He's got somebody that Mr. Gillum knows full well how to access the complaint system. He absolutely does. This is, even though we am absolutely conceding that the officer, his behavior forced this interaction or was unnecessary, this is not unusual for officers to have interactions of this nature with Mr. Gillum. He has forced confrontations like this numerous times before, and when officers take action that is moving him out of the way or having to essentially respond to him, he then files a complaint claiming either unprofessionalism or an assault. So this is kind of a repeat of something that we've seen several times in the past. So to address the second half of your point, it's a contextual issue with the officer there in that lot, attempting to accomplish a lawful task and clearly being sidetracked in the course of his duties.
When you mention intent, it seemed like he intended to prevent Mr. Gillum from his citizens' right of recording an interaction.
I would say that I would disagree based on their distance.
I'd like to jump in on that, actually, because on page 6 of the report, there is a couple of direct quotes from PSO West.
Yep.
He states, "Next time I'm going to arrest him. The guy is being aggressive in my face. I expletive told him to get his expletive. He's holding his camera right in my face, and I expletive punched his expletive phone back, like get it out of my face." Can you share about how that might inform your interpretation of intent?
Yep. I would say that I would rely heavily on his PSO West's opinion in his body camera that Mr. Gillum was being aggressive in his face.
Other questions?
Just one. If this was a citizen who actually touched a police officer, would it be the same thing?
Be different. If the officer was involved in their lawful duties and you could apply a different statute to it, it would be a different scenario.
Okay.
Barb?
The supervisor issue, if they ask for a supervisor, is it up to the officer? Because it seems like with 300 people in the parking lot, that's the last thing you'd need someone to do is call their supervisor.
Yeah, I'd say at the time, after the lot had been cleared out, the correct thing would have been to just call somebody to the scene right there. If it had happened, say, in the midst of the crowd being cleared out, I can certainly say, hey, hold on, we'll be right back with you, or get call a supervisor on the radio right then and there.
Inspector Mason, what does your policy say about if a citizen requests the sergeant?
Yep, it says they don't hinder access to the complaint system.
I have one more. A few moments before you open the floor to questions, you said PSO West could have and should have entered the cruiser. On page 8 of your brief, you suggest that Mr. Gillum brought his phone directly up to PSO West, who used his hand to push Mr. Gillum's hand away from him. It's not a forceful smack, as useful force was minimal, and was reasonable to create space with Mr. Gillum, especially since PSO West's cruiser was directly behind him, limiting his space to move. Can you clarify your comment earlier about how he could have and should have entered the cruiser at that time?
He could have disengaged from that interaction, is what I mean. I mean, when we talk about an action or an interaction being unnecessarily prolonged, that was a case where we could have avoided this by simply leaving the scene.
Physically, from the video, do you believe that PSO West had enough space to enter his vehicle while the door was open and Mr. Gillum was aside from the door?
Yes, because you can see the door is open as he's standing outside it.
So he was able to get into the vehicle?
He was, yes.
Okay. And your comments on page 8 suggest that his space was limited and that he was unable to move.
That doesn't mean that the door, that enough space is somebody being literally at the distance away from the cruiser, that would be the maximum opening of the door. Having been in these situations myself, I've got somebody who is taking my attention. I understand the crowd at this point is dissipated, but I'm still an officer on duty at 2 a.m. I need some distance and I need some space. So if the door swings open this far, and I'm still able to get my cruiser, but a citizen is standing at the extent of that door, to me, that's too close. It is, even a couple feet past that is too close for me still trying to do my job and be aware of my surroundings.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just kind of state of mind thing. I guess what's not captured in the video shared with us, what's in the report, it says, after a moment in the car, PSO West says out loud to himself, I bleeping hate this job. This is so bleeping stupid. I'm not going to let this bleeping guy get in my bleeping face.
Mm-hmm.
So, so in interpreting that, do you feel that his intentions were to be able to perform his job in protecting and serving, or do you think he got agitated because he felt someone was in his face while filming the interaction, which was his lawful right?
I believe that PSO West, as a couple lines before that, felt that he was being aggressive toward him, and he can feel both. He can feel upset that he's in his face, but also have a reason to commit that action.
Do you feel the video shows that Mr. Gillum was getting in his face, or because from the angle, like I said, I'm not a video expert, but it seemed like he went to the car, went back towards Mr. Gillum, went back to the car, went back, and then Mr. Gillum stepped up. So it seems like he had two opportunities where Mr. Gillum wasn't in his face.
Yep. Which was reflected in the finding that that is not part of this appeal today.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it appears that the technical difficulties went beyond just the beginning of the presentation of the inspector. So, Mr. Gillum, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to present again, since not all live stream platforms indicated that we found that did have the sound. So your presence was there, but sound was not. And so we'd ask you again, if you wouldn't mind, to come to the podium and just state your reasons why you are appealing the findings for this particular case, and we do apologize.
Oh, that's fine. Like I had stated before, I'm appealing the part of him putting his hands on me. They found him, to be unprofessional, and I just never understood how he could be so unprofessional and at the same time put his hands on me, but it's not in an unfriendly manner. So like I said, that's the only part that I disagree with, and like I said, I'm not running from any language I may have used or said, but I stand behind what I said, it's a way to go about it. I ain't put my hands on him. I'm not sure what he was thinking, even saying it was 300 people, because as you can see, it wasn't that many people now that I look at it, but still, you shouldn't be getting out your car if it's that many people, and you shouldn't be making more noise to wake up the citizens. If they're calling you about noise, you got to be a better way. You come to, because the citizens allegedly called you, fine. But so now we're going to disrupt the citizens as well. That just is not fair, and I didn't like it. I didn't put my hands on him. Like I said, the language, yeah, but I'm not going to get talked too aggressive and cow down and not be a man. No, I'm going to stand up, like you woke me up. And I just was trying to, understand why. Like, why do you have to lay on this horn, to get people that's not getting people to, let's be honest. That people, steady walking around, they still was there to a degree. So, I just didn't like the fact that they said it was an unfriendly touch because I didn't ask him to put his hands on me at all. And I know for a fact, that if you bump one of them, a police officer, you're going to jail for an assault. It's not even an intent. You could accidentally bump them. So the intent, that's, I didn't ask nobody to put their hands on me. And that's the only thing I tell any of them. Don't put your hands, if I got to go to jail, I'll go to jail. But don't put your hands on me and you don't have a reason to. Because we all have a right to defend ourselves, but as you see, I did nothing but ask for a sergeant. So that's why I stand at it. I still think it was wrong. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Were you recording at the time, or were you, I know at one time you said you were going to call 911 and call the sergeant.
No, I wasn't.
What were you doing at that time?
Well, that part of the video isn't when I first got down there.
No, I was talking about at that particular incident.
Yeah, because I asked for a sergeant, I was about to call.
But you weren't recording, right?
No, I wasn't recording at that time.
Okay.
No, sir, I wasn't recording until I put my phone up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
At this point, we'd like to open up the hearing for 2024-0025. Mr. Henderson?
Yes, Madam Chair and Board. On July the 9th, 2024, Ronald Gillum filed a PCR complaint against the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. The complainant alleged that KDPS PSOs Cody Brink, Peter Radenovic, and Matt Harris acted improperly while investigating a report of an assault in the 700 block of East Vine Street. The complaint was assigned to Sergeant Brandon Noble, temporarily assigned to the Office of Professional Standards for investigation. The investigation was closed on September the 5th, 2024. The Chief's office reviewed the report and cleared the involved officers of the complainant's allegations. The complainant was notified of the Chief's findings and was chosen to appeal the findings to the City Manager. The City Manager has referred this appeal to the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeals Board and requests a disposition recommendation. This appeal is before you this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Gillum, now is your time to speak to the reasons why you disagree with the findings in 0025.
Yes, thank you. The reason I disagree is the nature of the call And when the officer got there, you know, with the information the officer received and how he acted when he got there was two totally different things of what I feel like and what, you know, any, you know, wise thinking person would think this is how he should proceed, but that's not how they proceeded. You know, they proceeded to just allow the lady to just do whatever she wanted to do, and at the same time, they assumed my daughter was a guy. So, but I do have the video that I like to play. I don't know, he unplugged it or something.
Reported street at Little Caesar. Caller said that her son was just shot with a water gun, or Nerf gun. He's a 9-year-old, Leland Howard. Caller's stating that he's currently with her sister. Caller keeps saying
This is your video?
people who are doing this with a handgun.
Just when you speak,
Oh,
you might want to pause it. 'Cause it's because of the issues that we were having.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody's gonna understand everything.
Do you want so you can stack up in a...
Don't clear my ass before they, and it's a man suspicious, which is really not her, she's in a tan Chevy Tahoe. She's on her way running red lights, and she's not going to stop or anything when she's on her way.
Does she want to make a police report, or?
And you'll hear in the from the dispatch of the caller stating of the dispatch telling the police officer that the caller says she's going to kill who's ever doing this with a handgun. So it's just, and I'm about to play that for you.
She's in a tan Chevy Tahoe. She's on her way running red lights, and she's not going to stop or anything when she's on her way.
Does she want to make a police report, or? Disregard, I get it. She's responding to the scene.
See little kids here?
They are over there with the two adults.
Verbal 28. Check that verbal 29.
Do you know, did you see anything?
I didn't see them.
Okay.
I'll be around.
Caller keeps saying that she's going to kill the people who are doing this with a handgun.
Now, if I could stop right there and possibly play the 911 call that she, this is the 911 call.
My son's at Little Caesars on Portage Road. I guess he got hit by those little bullet guns that all these little fucking little black kids keep poking around. Look, I will shoot one of these motherfuckers with my real gun. I'm not playing. Y'all better get this shit under control because I'm rushing to fucking Little Caesars on Portage Road right now because my 9-year-old son just got hit by the fucking little Nerf guns. I'm telling you right now, I have my CPO, and if someone threatens my son again, I will shoot a little fucking nigger because he wants to shoot my son with fucking pellet guns. Look, like I said, you better go to Little Caesars on Portage Road right now. I'm on my way there.
Okay, he was hit by one of the, like...
Those little guns that these little niggers fucking keep riding around town like shooting motherfuckers with. I will take my 9mm and I will shoot somebody with the wheels to fucking keep playing with these guns.
You need to stop yelling and answer my questions, okay? What's your son's name?
They blocked out the son.
Okay, and what's his phone number?
He doesn't have a phone number. His phone's at, he does have a phone number. My sister's there right now.
Okay.
His phone's at home. He's got a number, but he don't got his phone on him.
Are those people still there?
I don't know. I am flying there right now. Like I said, you guys need to control these fucking niggers out here with these fucking bullets because I'm about to shoot 9mm at these motherfuckers.
What is your name?
Ashley Howard.
Ashley, is your phone number 269-999-2773?
Correct. Y'all should be having these motherfucking cops sitting down there up at all times with these motherfuckers with these fucking little pellet guns.
Okay, I'm gonna have some officers head out that way. Does your son need an ambulance?
I don't know. I don't know. My sister said he's hurt, so I don't know.
What is your sister's name?
Crystal.
What's her phone number?
I can't even get through here. She called me on Facebook. I don't have her number right now.
What's her last name?
Smith.
Did she tell you what they look like, the people that did this?
No. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm on my way to my son now.
She told you he was hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a couple officers headed over there, okay? Have your handgun on you?
No, I don't, but I will go home and get it. What? And even if I did, I have the right to carry it.
What kind of vehicle are you in?
A Chevy Tahoe.
What color?
Tan. So if they want to pull me over, just let them know I'm not stopping because I'm blowing all these motherfucking lights.
Okay.
I don't care.
Hold on. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just trying to let them know what to look out.
I'm just letting you know if your dispatch wants to try to hit their lights on me because I'm running every red light on my way to my son.
You cannot drive and break the traffic laws. If you...
Okay, well, I don't care. I don't care. I am. But I'm just telling you right now, I'm not stopping until I get to my son.
Running red lights in this situation is...
They could give me a ticket. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm not stopping until I get to my destination.
Okay, officers are on their way to Little Caesars. You need to drive and obey the traffic laws. If anything else changes, give us a call back.
Yep.
All right, goodbye.
Now, as you can hear, the dispatch told her to wait at Little Caesars for the officers. And we all heard the language, so. And also, she told the officer that the dispatch.
Please report it to Little Caesars. Caller says that her son was just shot with a water gun, or Nerf gun. He's a 9-year-old, Leland Howard. Caller's stating that he's currently with her sister. Caller keeps saying that she's going to kill the people who are doing this.
Till when we get to when he leaves Little Caesars,
11, stand by. 81, go ahead.
Three.
Anyone, he comes back, negative 34 order, and cancel, that's why.
Now, before we get to that, I just want to make a quick point. Inspector Mason is absolutely right. You know, it's 2 tiers, and you're going to see right here what happens when you think, when the officer thinks he's been assaulted.
10-4, take it out, file.
Alright, 11, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with it.
She made 3 threats also with the 9mm.
Hey, let's stop. Okay, let's stop. Ma'am, you're gonna go to jail.
Get the fuck out! Let's go! Let's go!
Can you calm her down? Okay. She's gonna go to jail if she continues. I believe you.
Y'all wanna play with Nervy?
Huh?
You will get
Hey,
it!
ma'am.
You will get it!
Nobody shot your son!
You got a gun!
Stop.
They both got guns! How many guns? One of them!
We didn't shoot him! Hey.
Everybody around here with guns!
Bitch, you can watch your motherfucking mouth!
Shit, bitch!
Fuck is you talking about?
Go
back. Bro, get her the fuck off my property, bro. Get her the fuck off my property. You got people banging on my shit. What is you doing? Stop playing with me. You're under arrest. Stop. Under arrest. Stop. Under arrest.
I'm gonna stop it right there. And the reason I'm gonna stop it right there is because she made 3 threats with this 9mm. The officer come up to the scene and the first thing he said was, after the lady told him, oh, they shot my son, the lady on the side, they shot her son. His words to her was, I believe you. And then he sat back and he let her do her onslaught of nothing but threats. You got a play gun, I got a real gun, I got a 9mm, and you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get it. The police officer did absolutely nothing. After she was told to wait at Little Caesars. So I can't, you know, like when Inspector Mason comes up here and he tries to assassinate me and says, oh, this is what Mr. Gillum does. No, this is what the police department does. This is what the police department does. He's just upset that I followed through. And I'm gonna follow, that's my daughter. They thought she was a guy. They dumped on top of her head, 2 of them. But we're gonna finish playing because they continue to let him insult my mother. And they told my mom to take her cane in. She's 72 years old, told her she could use it as a weapon. She walks with it. They didn't answer that in the complaint as well. You know, but I'm gonna finish because these officers haul her off while they continue their onslaught.
Stop resisting. You want to hit me? You're going to go to jail. Get the fuck! No, I didn't hit you. I didn't hit you. You were touching me. Lay on my property, bro. Y'all let motherfuckers. 717 East High. Because you punched me. I did not punch you. Yeah, you did. No, the fuck I didn't. You put your hands on me. And they ran up on my motherfucking property, banging on my shit. What are you talking about? Man, let me go, bro. Why you got my arm like this now? Bro, across the street.
I believe you said 17 to 18 East Vine.
I can't believe you're taking me to jail right now. 717 After you let these motherfuckers run up on my property, bro? No, look how you got me. I'm a whole female. Why do you got my fucking arms like this?
Because you're in custody.
For what?
For hitting me.
Bro, I never hit you, bro. He put
Now, this is what my daughter went through for a fake punch that he said that she threw. Now, she went to jail, she had charges, she did all that. No more charges. But they seem to think that, you know, like, you can just come to people's house and tell the people who shouldn't be there banging on the door, trespassing, banging. My daughter didn't come out till the police got there. That's when you seen her come outside, rightfully so. But she came outside to, you know, unbeknownst to her destruction. She missed work. She had a seizure when she got out. You know, so this isn't professional. At no time did these guys come to investigate. No questions was asked. He didn't separate the crowd. As you see him, he just stood on the side and told my grandson, shh, shh. And then he got upset at my daughter and told her to calm down. But at the same time, when he pulled up, you had 2 people on my daughter's porch, 1 person on the sidewalk, and 2 guys in the parking lot. And those same people were there while these 2 officers roughed my daughter up and hauled her off. And they said these officers acted real professional. She's at home. So I don't know how they acted professional, because at no time did they try to de-escalate the situation at all. They allowed this woman to make 3 threats with a 9mm. And may I add, if they had done their job that day, just maybe her baby wouldn't have got shot with her own gun. Because that was her down the street on Vine Street, her baby. So maybe we ought to start holding people accountable who have guns, who threatening people, instead of sweeping it under the rug, as Inspector Mason them did. They didn't listen to none of this. They was done with the complaints process so fast that because I asked them, well, did you look at the video? Oh yeah, I looked at the video. No, they don't look at videos, they don't do none of that. They just accept whatever the officer tell them, and that's what happens. But I file complaints. I also give commendations. He didn't tell you that. I also give those out to good officers. But I'm not giving them out to bad officers, and I'm not going to sit up here and let anybody talk to me crazy or abuse my daughter without me filing proper paperwork. He seems to be upset that I file complaints. I thought that's what this was about, that we are able to file complaints, or have I moved out of America? Because he seems to be upset that I file complaints. Well, I thought I had a right, a constitutional right to do that. I also have one to film. They seem to get upset about that as well. You know, so I don't know how this isn't an assault on me and my family by this police department. This isn't the first thing. This isn't the first thing, you know, that I done ran across with them. You know, even to the point of having to get this appeal. They lied to me, said they sent out the letter, and no letter. I went to the post office. I got the post office mail coming to tell me what I get every day. It's a copy. But Inspector Mason told me they mailed it out. Never mailed it out. Thanks to Ms. Vargas, she gave me the opportunity to have a hearing. They don't even send my paperwork out, man. I just had to start filing a complaint because they wouldn't even give me a copy and tell me they got the complaint. Like they just got my complaints down there sitting on them. But they couldn't sit on this. Because once I paid for the video, it showed me what it was. You guys came over there with a plan. You never even asked these people to get off my daughter's property. When my daughter stepped forward, you thought she was a guy. So you dumped on top of her head. She steady asking me, what am I going to do? You punch me, you punch me. But as we see, it's different. You know, the officer can do what he wants to me, smack my hand down and all that, but it's friendly. But whatever air hit this officer from my daughter, I have no idea what he's talking about. And neither did the prosecutor. But she was charged with a felony, had to spend a night in jail, all this done in front of her kids. All this is done in front of her kids, at home. But according to them, this is professional. Well, if unprofessional, I don't want to see what unprofessional is. That's all I'm going to say. If that's professional, I don't want to see what unprofessional is. I hate to see it. People gonna start dying, I guess. You know, so that's really where I'm at with it. It was unacceptable. It was nothing professional about it. This lady made numerous threats after making all these racial, you know, slurs and making threats. I would figure it would be a hate crime myself. You know, they swept that under the rug. You know, but they look at the video, this is what they said. But, you know, when I look at it, I see different. You know, I see my daughter come outside when she could have came out well before then and could have stood her ground and beat this woman off her property because she was trying to tear the door down. You know, but she waited for the police, you know, because she saw him coming. And then she went to jail. So it's unjustified to me. You know, she got slammed on top of her head. You know, it just was unjust, you know. And to say it was professional, wasn't unprofessional about that, in my opinion. You know, maybe I see different. But that's my daughter. You know, and they slanging around like she's a guy. And just for the record, like I told the last police officer, you guys who out here, you're not even doing people that you're catching with 3-4 guns like you did my daughter. So yes, I get angry. Because you take these people and you take them nicely, but every time you got my daughter, you dumping her on top of her head, you know, and then she got seizures again. You know, so yeah, I'm not happy. So when he tells you, yes, Mr. Gillum does get angry. Yes, I do use choice words sometimes. Yes, you know, but I have every right to. You know, it is freedom of speech, you know, but I am respectful to those who respect me. That's how it goes. And I'm sure everybody up there is the same way. But this isn't respectful. I can't respect this. And I will never respect that from the police department, no police department. Citizens deserve better than this, especially when we're at home. Sanctity of our home. We shouldn't be treated like this. He should have told them to leave, step off the property, because he already knew they weren't supposed to be there. Let's establish that, because they were supposed to be in that little seizures. He knows her Tahoe is in the parking lot. She's banging on the door, so she doesn't live here, and she's threatening people 3 times while the police officer was there. He did absolutely nothing but dump my daughter on top of her head. So that's one professional. Nothing they did. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, Chair, for the sake of time, will we have access to that video during our deliberation?
Yes.
Okay.
Questions? Mr. Tolbert?
In that particular video, it appears that the 2 women were on the sidewalk, but before that, they were banging on the door. Is that what you're saying?
No, it was 2 women on the porch, and there was a child and a lady on the sidewalk, and there was a couple men in the parking lot. It was 2 women on the porch to start, and there was one on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah, at the beginning of the video, you can see somebody banging on their door. There were 2 people to the side. One person was banging on the door, and she stepped off as the officer started to come towards the house.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to follow up, you said that she was arrested, felony charges, and can you refresh my memory? What is the status of those charges right now?
The charges got dismissed after the video.
And did the prosecutor or anybody tell you the specific reasons why the charges were dismissed?
What did they tell you?
They basically said that the prosecutor did not know.
I guess they they had no evidence to proceed with the assault because they had no evidence that she assaulted him.
So no evidence of an assault?
Right.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And now we'll hear from Inspector Mason.
Hello again, everyone. Inspector Mason here with the Office of Professional Standards, KDPS, presenting the city's case for 2024-0025. So on June 25th, 2024, officers responded to the 700 block of East Vine Street for an assault involving juveniles using toy guns. These guns were Orbeez type guns that shoot soft water-filled capsules and were popular during that summer, and public safety investigated numerous assault reports over the course of that summer involving these toys. So while officers were on scene on Vine Street, a resident of 717 East Vine Street was taken into custody for resisting and obstructing after she exited the house to confront another party and had an altercation with the responding officer. Officers remained on scene after the arrest to conduct their investigation. And during the investigation, Mr. Gillum, a relative of the involved parties and of the arrested person, arrived on scene. He subsequently filed a complaint with the Office of Professional Standards about the officers who responded to East Vine Street. And so that complaint was made on July 9th of 2024, and that complaint contained 2 allegations against the involved officers. First, that officers had allowed trespassers onto the property on East Vine Street, which escalated the situation. And second, that a responding officer, PSO Harris, had acted unprofessionally while on scene. So the Office of Professional Standards investigated Mr. Gillum's complaint by interviewing him via phone, reviewing body-worn camera video, the Initial Operations Division investigation, examining the police report, and reviewing applicable laws, policy, and procedure. So this is what the officer, and Mr. Gillum had shown the video, it has the audio, but just as some context, this is the initial call for service, the information that dispatch provided to officers while en route, which was the caller states that her son was just shot with a water gun or Nerf gun. He's 9-year-old, she gives his name. Caller states he's currently with his sister. Caller states she's going to kill the people who are doing this with a handgun. So officers arrive on scene. First, Officer Radenovic and Officer Brink. Members of the caller's family are on the front porch in the lawn of 717 East Vine. So this is the one belonging to Mr. Gillum's family members. So as PSO Radenovic walks up to the house, the individuals come off the front porch and move onto the lawn. We don't see in that previous video was PSO Brink, who is about 5 seconds behind PSO Radenovic, who walks the parties off the lawn as they came off the porch and kind of as they were staying on the sidewalk, orders them to go across the street to the parking lot or stand on the sidewalk away. And this occurs within seconds of officers walking up to the residence. So this first allegation, simply from him, was that we had allowed these people to trespass, which was not true. So this was determined to be unfounded, which means that the alleged conduct, which would be essentially that officers neglected their duty, allowed a dangerous condition or situation to exist, did not occur. The unwelcome party was already on the property when officers arrived, and officers took active steps to get them off their property. So the second allegation was that PSO Harris had acted unprofessionally. The following slides are some clips of Officer Harris's interactions with Mr. Gillum and his relatives, and viewer discretion is advised in the next few clips due to Mr. Gillum's use of language. So this clip shows PSO Harris attempting to interview one of the individuals involved in this incident, a juvenile, and his mother interjects in their conversation, and PSO Harris responds.
What crime did I do? Is anybody injured? Is anybody injured?
Oh, I guess when you're black and you do something, you're automatic.
Ma'am, go home. Ma'am, go home.
I ain't gotta go home. And my name on this shit too. Yeah, this hurt. I own both sides.
The next couple, so this one, minutes later, shows a brief interaction with Mr. Gillum near the front porch of 717 East Vine. And you're going to watch, I'm going to try to fix it here, but the video and audio does get separated.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Tell him. No, I don't. No, I don't. Tell him who the fuck I want to talk to. The company y'all over here. Motherfucker, tell what's going on. Okay. Get the fuck off the. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Tell him who the fuck I want to talk to. The company y'all over here. Motherfucker, tell what's going on. Okay. Get the fuck off the property, man. Bye. Okay. Bye. Try to figure out when you do interview. You ain't interviewing nobody else. It's over. Go in the house. That's it. You ain't interviewing nobody. And I want everybody's name and badge number in this thing.
No, you don't need to come down here.
I want everybody's name and ID. What's your name? We're gonna start this shit off correct now. Okay, so it was just your cousin that got
Go in the house, man. Go in the house. Go in the house. Go in the house. Ain't shit. Are you gonna continue? Fuck you. Ain't shit popping. Nothing. Ain't nothing popping. Get your punk ass off the property. That's the only thing happening in this motherfucker is you getting the fuck on. You get your bitch ass off the property.
Get off my property.
Get the fuck off the property. Close the door, man. Come on, let's go. Let's have step the fuck off this property. Y'all don't understand that? What you investigate? What crime? Oh, that ain't your misdemeanor. Okay, well get the fuck on, bitch. You don't even know what crime you investigate. Misdemeanor or felony you investigating. You can't come over here creating a crime. If you don't have a crime, get the fuck on.
What's Jones got? He's working for it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably just as simple as all right.
No, you don't need to come down.
Well, let me tell Jones what I got from this juvenile at the top.
All right, so he goes across the street, confers with an officer, or I'm sorry, a supervisor. Officers, at that point, step across the street into a vacant parking lot. So they're finishing their interviews with the other half of this allegation in the parking lot across the street, and then Officer Harris and several others are on scene helping to keep the parties separated to facilitate a conclusion to this.
Still not illegal orders. Still not illegal orders. The boy here put his hands on me. I swear to God, I hope you ever put your hands on me again. I swear, go ask the captain down there who put his hands on me. I beat the fuck out of him at McDonald's. Now put your hands on me. Yeah, the captain that doing the video and shit, when he put his hands on, beat the fuck out of him, man, beat the case. So put your hands on me again without having authorization to arrest me. I ain't playing none of that fuck shit. Yeah, you done over there. You shouldn't have never been over there, fuck boy. You shouldn't have never been over there. Look at them. They all mad, dude. I done seen you too many times. Don't you say a fucking word. Right, don't say a fucking word. Don't say, you a motherfucking lie. You a motherfucking lie, so don't say a word. Get your fat ass bitch. Get your fat ass bitch. You can't kill no. Shut your old ass up. Yeah, yes you is. I don't even know why they brought you around here. He the smartest one. He's standing the fuck in the truck. Shut your fat ass up. You know, go to the gym. Go to the gym, you old beast.
You better not mess with her. She'll stab you with her 9mm.
I don't give a fuck. We all got guns, bitch. We all got guns. We all got guns. We all got guns.
You got your
run up again, talk about who you gonna shoot. You gonna be dead, bitch. Do it again. Do it again.
Run all up in my granddaughter's home.
They ran in the home?
They got the banger on the door. Banger on the door.
What's she in the car for? What's she in the car for?
I can't explain this to one of my officers.
No, she didn't. No, man, good shit. Around there, I'm gonna be on your man. You turned around on me. Man, I can walk across the street. Get your bitch ass on, you coward motherfucker.
Do not follow my officer.
Man, you ain't. No, you think you real tough, don't you?
Not gonna follow my officer like that.
Man, he ain't your officer. You got your fuck buddies? Y'all fucking? Gay motherfucker, y'all fucking buddies or something? Your officer, y'all fucking buddies?
You were told to stay on the sidewalk. Back up.
You don't tell me where to stand, bitch. Hey, that's how you gonna get
My family.
With the white?
All mine. This is my daughter. That is my daughter. And that is my daughter. This is my grandson. That is my son. I am not ready to contest that. I'm on talk about. You talking
well, we
about
gonna
you got a whole
your
look
fat
and a
ass.
black police officer in the crowd.
You gonna get license plate and all that.
This is all for one.
That license plate over there. That all PhD 29. Yeah. Hey. That fat bitch right here.
Back up before I put you in handcuffs.
Shut your bitch ass up. What's happening there, man? What's happening? You keep gunning me with your bitch ass.
They're not leaving. They refuse.
Man, don't nobody give a fuck about that shit. Fuck that shit. Fuck him. Fuck your mama. Fuck his daddy. Fuck all y'all. That's the bottom line of it. Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. Fat ass bitch.
This is, they say nowhere like it. Not in these two houses, but they said one of their family right here.
Okay, well, get them out. What that got to do with them? This is a vacant lot, so why don't you go wait at home? No, why you? I'm not even talking. What? Oh, you live on Stockbridge. This ain't your home. Why don't you wait at your mama's house now? I can wait where I want. This is a vacant lot. Why don't you go wait at your boyfriend's house? Oh, okay. Hey, they want to throw hands. You got a lot of nothing to say, don't you? Roll your eyes like a little nothing to say, don't you? Roll your eyes like a little football down to the ground because you've been exposed, huh? Keep spouting out you like stop being your man at home, man. Stop being your boyfriend at home. Act like you want to fight. Hey, fat girl. That's coward shit. Hey, fat girl. Look at him. Dude, you're not tough. If I ever run into you again, you put your hands on me, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna drag your bitch ass. I'm gonna drag you. And I'm gonna beat the case. You full of words, ain't you? Yeah, well, all you got to do is put your hands on somebody then. Put your hands on somebody. Yeah, I see you. Let me get that license plate. Now. Oh, man. Got that public information. You tough. Man, you good. Woo! I don't know that name. Woo! That's all hook talk.
So moments after that last clip, the officer enters his cruiser and leaves the scene, kind of withdrawing himself from the interaction there as things are tidying up with the investigation. So on the issue of unprofessionalism, during that investigation, Mr. Gillum subjected these officers to nearly 20 minutes of confrontational behavior and insults. These are just small clips of what occurred there. Officers maintained their composure while attempting to investigate or protect those who were investigating while dealing with this unnecessary interference. Dealing with the sort of behavior exhibited by Mr. Gillum, while part of the everyday work of an officer, absolutely, can be difficult as officers to experience as any traumatic incident. Negative health impacts such as anger, frustration, and burnout, and that happens acutely and chronically. As Sergeant Noble wrote in his report, officers are human, cannot be expected to be robotic in the face of constant in-your-face insults, screaming and insults. And I might say that PSO Harris's engagement with Mr. Gillum is not ideal, does not rise to the level of policy violation, taking into account the entirety of the situation and the other behavior that the officer encountered with poise and professionalism. Essentially, that a few unnecessary lines toward Mr. Gillum in the eyes of the Office of Professional Standards were mitigated by his overall behavior during the interaction. And so on balance, we must take the entirety of the situation into account when judging whether the officer's actions, that's PSO Harris, the person whose body camera you were watching, rose to the level of a policy violation. And it was found that alleged act did not occur. So that's the conclusion of my case for the Vine Street incident. Are there any questions from the board?
I have a question. I'm confused with Officer Brink, and you stated on page 12 that he immediately began walking the Howards off the property, yet there's also a statement a couple of sentences before that says Officer Radanovic puts himself in between the two because it was escalating. Mm-hmm. So you can't do both of those things at the same time.
So there were several members of the other party, so they weren't just up there at the door. So when PSO Radanovic walks up, he's got the two coming off the porch. Officer Brink then is standing behind him at the edge of the yard, and he's moving that other party off the yard to the sidewalk.
So the young man that was yelling that we didn't shoot them, he was obviously talking to the mothers that were, the Howards that were coming off the porch.
Yes.
So again, what was the officer doing to break up the Howards and the young man that was talking? I'm sorry, Miss Gillum that was talking at that point.
So the initial, when they arrive on scene, the first thing they have to do is establish some sort of order. It's every scene you walk into, it's a first priority when we got something like this happening. So they are trying to create that separation first off and trying to stop any further confrontation, especially a physical one. And PSO Brink is there at the sidewalk moving people away, and the other two that had come off the porch, He's motioning back toward the sidewalk off of the lawn, and then PSO Radenovic essentially using himself as to stop the progression of the other half from moving toward them. So the whole goal here with those two officers is to stop an escalation of whatever conflict is happening there.
Yeah, my commentary is strictly commentary.
Certainly.
The young lady that got in a tussle with the police officers, that's one side of this.
Mm-hmm.
The people banging on the door is what initiated this. Mr. Gillum did what he did once he went across the street and recorded, didn't see his recording, but recorded that whole thing. I don't know why we needed to see that. Because it doesn't, it's connected to, but it doesn't really play into the reason that all this was caused. Were the squirt guns or the BB guns, whatever the hell they were they ever found?
I'm not aware.
Okay, so we don't know that. So we don't know who fired them.
Who fired them?
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? So to me, this is just a great big cluster, and there's nothing resolved except problems with the community. The police officers did an adequate job in keeping the two parties separated across the street. I understand that. I'm really curious about the young lady who had the tussle with the police officers, and I think you substantiated what her father said. Charges against her were dropped. So I'm really curious about why we're doing this.
Okay. So the videos that were shown were part of the unprofessionalism allegation against PSO Harris. The two, they were, as in this July complaint of 24, there were two allegations that were there. And those are the ones I'm presenting on today.
For the video that Mr. Gillum showed, there is who was the officer that was first getting out of the car for that situation? Was that PSO Harris?
I'm sorry, the officer who first arrived on scene?
Correct.
That was PSO Radenovic.
Okay. So when he first got out of the car, he said you're going to be arrested. Who was he referring that to? Was that
When he first got out of the car?
Correct.
My belief is it was likely the Howard, since he was far back enough from the house, that those were the individuals who were right in front of him.
I guess maybe it's not necessarily in line with what we're discussing now, but what would cause him to say that?
I'd have to go back and listen to it. My guess is that there were essentially, if they didn't get off the property, they were going to be arrested. Okay. It's the first thing that he encountered when he exits his vehicle, is the problem in front of him, which is people on someone else's property who are not supposed to be.
Thank you.
Inspector Mason.
Sir.
First of all, my own personal comment, having gone on ride-alongs and actually been at a scene where I was also cussed out with the officers. I want to commend them for, if it was 25 minutes and being berated, standing there and not letting it escalate. To me, that shows the proper fortitude in not allowing something to escalate. So I do want to commend them for that, because I've been in a situation where I was also cussed out, my jaws got tight. So to be able to do that, hats off to them. But on the flip side, all the officers on the scene had on body camera, correct?
Yes.
They were all activated?
They were all, to my knowledge, they're all activated. Yeah.
Do you have any angles that show clearly where the young lady arrested struck the officer?
No, because PSO Radenovic was the only one who was facing that direction. And there were only two officers on scene at the time. PSO Brink was facing the other way.
Okay, so based on your investigation, the accusation at this point of her striking an officer, that's unfounded?
That wasn't part of this complaint.
No, I'm just for my own. Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So the charges were dropped.
Yes, she was initially charged, and then 2 months later, I believe the charges were dropped.
Okay, so.
And the prosecutor's office, and I've talked about this before, that the prosecutor's office makes independent decisions. You know, we are the enforcement arm of the government. We have probable cause, which is not certainty by any means, but we act on probable cause to take people into custody for crimes. It's the prosecutor's office to determine whether those cases are substantial enough to take to court.
And at that time, the officers had probable cause for striking an officer.
Correct. And remember that the R&O statute is resisting, obstructing, hindering, interfering. It's essentially a statute that protects officers while they are on scene investigating something that is part of their jobs. You know, they didn't just show up because they were out for a stroll. They were called there. They'll be called on tonight to 15, 20 scenes, and the R&O clause is to protect them out there from being victimized and being able to carry out their duties without hindrance.
And part of the reason why they were called there is a 911 call was made where someone definitely used some language that seemed inappropriate to me, but she also made threats on the call and made threats on the scene. Was any probable cause substantiated to have her arrested?
No, not that day. And remember that the first thing the officers have to do when they get there is they'll come into a scene with conflicting information. They get there, there's so much screaming, and the first thing that needs to be done is the situation needs to be calmed down and parties need to be separated so that interviews can occur and anything else that comes with a criminal investigation. And so that's the majority of what we saw today was the initial moments on scene.
Help me in the distinguishing where you indicated that PSO Harris's actions were not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that different from not unprofessional?
Sure. I think that I tried to stress that kind of in that conclusion slide prior to the third to the last one here, about we look at that on balance, right? He has at the very end a back and forth with Mr. Gillum that was not necessary. But I have to take into account that we have a long interaction on scene where they maintain professionalism. Are we going to nail the officer with a policy violation because they have a break in the face of that, a few lines here or there? And I think that's the distinction between them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Could you tell me how long were the Howards banging on the door before the police arrived?
Officer Radenovic was only at Lake and Dewey, which is Lake and Race, which is a few blocks away. So it couldn't have been more than, I don't know the time frame between when that 911 call ended, but he clearly goes to Little Caesars first and then to Vine Street. So my guess is probably less than 30 seconds. And I could be wrong. That's just a guess.
And the Howards, the Gillums didn't come out of the house until the police
That's correct, yep.
got there?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, that's when they asked the Howards to step back?
No, they asked them to step back the moment they got there.
Mm-hmm. And so they stepped back, and that's when the young lady came out of the house.
Yes.
Right. But she was in the house the entire time. They were knocking on the door.
I can only see what the body camera sees.
Okay, that's what we see,
Yeah.
right? And that's when she came out the house. And within, 5, 6 seconds, she was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
At this time, we move forward with closing the hearing, and the board will convene in a closed session to deliberate. I want to thank both Mr. Gillum and Inspector Mason for their presentations and for those in the audience for their attendance. Thank you, and as stated earlier, this will be deliberated and we'll put forward our recommendation to the city manager. Thank you.